What's up, Flatland? Hope you guys are doing good. I'm excited that you joined me. My name is Cody Friesen. I'm the youth pastor at Flatland Church, and today we're going to be diving into part of chapter 6 in Mark as we continue our daily Devo series on the book of Mark, this study of Mark that we're doing. Today, you guys are in for a treat. We're going to see another miracle performed by Jesus, and it's a pretty cool one. It's where he feeds 5,000 people. And it's really cool to see how he does it. So I think you're going to learn some new things about Jesus, and you're going to contemplate and learn some new ways that if you believe that Jesus is really this way, how you can apply that to your life. It's really cool. So I'm excited for you to see it. So join me as we read Mark chapter 6, starting in verse 30 and going all the way through verse 44. So here we go. The apostles returned to Jesus and told him all that they had done and taught. Now remember, Jesus had just sent them all out. So now they're coming back and they're telling Jesus everything that they had done and taught people. And Jesus said to them, "Come away by yourselves to a desolate place and rest a while." For many were coming and going, and they had no leisure even to eat. And they went in the boat to a desolate place by themselves. Now, many saw them going and recognized them, and they ran there on foot from all the towns and got there ahead of them. When he went ashore, he saw a great crowd, and he had compassion on them, because they were like a sheep without a shepherd. And he began to teach them many things. And when it grew late, his disciples came out and said, "This is a desolate place, and the hour is now late. Send them away to go into the surrounding countryside and villages and buy themselves something to eat." But he answered them, "You give them something to eat." And they said to Jesus, "Shall we go and buy 200 denarii worth of bread and give it to them to eat?" And he said to them, "How many loaves do you have? Go and see." And when they had found out, they said, We have 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Then he commanded them all to sit down in groups on the green grass. So they sat down in groups by hundreds and by 50s. And taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, he looked up to heaven and said a blessing and broke the loaves and gave them to the disciples to set before the people. And he divided the 2 fish among them all, and they all ate and were satisfied. And they took up 12 baskets full of broken pieces and of fish. And those who ate the loaves were 5,000 men. So wow, here we have all these disciples coming. It was 12 disciples coming back to Jesus after Jesus had sent them out 2 by 2 to preach and to teach others. I'll make sure it was the 12. Yeah, it was the 12. So these 12 disciples come back and they're telling Jesus all that they had done and all that they had taught. And so, they're kind of tired. They've done a lot of stuff. And so Jesus says, why don't you go to this desolate place? They get on a boat, it looks like, and they're going to go to another place to continue teaching. And meanwhile, people had seen that they were getting onto this boat and that they were leaving, and they saw the direction they were going. So they, on foot, started going to where they were going to be next. So much so that people from all over, a bunch of different towns, all came together and basically waited for them to arrive. So they arrive, and Jesus, looks out, and he sees all these people who just have no one to lead them, no one to guide them in life, and so he had compassion on them, and he was moved. And so he got out and he began to teach them many things, and it got pretty late. And eventually the disciples were like, "Jesus, it's really late. We're in a desolate place. You need to send these people away so they can go eat, and probably so we can get some rest and eat too. We don't have enough food to eat, feed them all." And Jesus says, "Why don't you go feed them?" "Well, why don't I go feed them?" "Jesus, there's 5,000 people here. I can't feed these people." So Jesus tells them to go and to find out how many, loaves of bread and fish they have. And they find out that they have 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. And Jesus uses this to feed 5,000 men. There's more people there because that verse says 5,000 men. So that doesn't include women or children. So there's a lot of people here. And when we read this, it almost seems like, well, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, come on, that's not possible. That didn't really happen. Well, maybe if that's how you feel, you don't know the power of our God. You're not totally bought in on what he can do. When I read this passage, I need to remind myself, like, I need to remember who my God is. In fact, I have a thing written down here that says, remember who your God is. A passage like this, I must remember that God is mighty, he is powerful, he's in control of all things, he is sovereign. He can make 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish multiply to feed that many people. Another thing I love about this passage is at the end there were leftovers. God has more than enough for you. He's more than enough for us. So just what a great passage, what a great miracle to see Jesus perform. And so today what I challenge you guys to do is I want you to ask yourself, what does this passage not only teach me about Jesus, but what does it teach me about God the Father? So write those things down. What does this passage teach me about Jesus? And what does this passage teach me about God? And then once you've written that down, I want you to ask yourself, if this is what I believe about Jesus and what I believe about God, how can I live my life like I actually believe this? How can I go about every single day living knowing that I actually believe this? How does this change things for you? So enjoy that time with God, guys. Enjoy that time just reading this. Thanks for joining me. I look forward to seeing what we have tomorrow. It looks like we're going to be finishing up chapter 6. So join me, and we'll see you next time. See ya.